Everyone's looking at England's group and thinking this is the group of death, and we're looking at this as England fans, and we are thinking who is England's easiest opponent. At least on paper, that appears to be Ghana, currently ranked 72nd in the world, miles away from their record high of 14th all the way back in like 2008. So it appears that Ghana have been on a sustained decline over the past 20 years. But that's exactly why this game could be dangerous. England just need to switch off once, because they have some very good players. They have one very good player, and when you look at who England have lost against in the past couple of years, they have lost those games in that transition period, and with pace, patience, physicality and a quick transition, Ghana could potentially provide an upset. They tick a lot of uncomfortable boxes. So I'm going to take a deeper look at Ghana. I'm going to explain why we should be worried about them and probably not take them for granted, and what England must get right if we are to avoid a major upset at the group stage. So I'm going to start with that theory about teams that transition well against England have tended to do well. Look at Greece, look at Iceland, look at Senegal, all teams in recent history that have come to England and won comfortably. It has to be said, completely outplayed England. And it wasn't really about possession in those games. It was about how they nullified the England attack and how they hit us on the counter-attack, because that is one area where I think we're weak. We are very weak against the counter-attack. England are going to have more of the ball against Ghana. I've got no doubt about that. We're going to dominate the ball. It's going to be 70% possession at least. But Ghana just need to keep their shape. England need to keep their patience. I think that's going to be key. And as we know, we've seen this over many, many years that England struggle to do that, but certainly you could argue that the new generation, this England team of the past 20 years, has not done that. We have shown in very tight games in tournaments, actually, we're willing to grind those results out, certainly based on the evidence of the last Euros. We can't really look back at history for England versus Ghana because we've only played them once before. That was a friendly, it was a 1-1 draw in England all the way back in 2011, Ghana scoring a last minute equaliser. So they've caused an upset once, although this would be on a completely different level. So we've never played them competitively. England's record against African teams, though, in competitive matches is pretty strong, really. We've never lost. We have never been beaten by an African team in a competitive fixture. The last time we played an African nation in a competitive match was all the way back in 2022, when, of course, we met Senegal in the knockout rounds of the World Cup, and we battered them 3-0. We played absolutely brilliantly. Senegal at the time were the African Cup of Nations champions as well. Ghana will certainly not be the AFCON champions when England meet them, because they didn't even qualify for the AFCONs this year. And this is where this Ghanaian team is... It's difficult to understand how threatening they are to this England team. We meet Ghana in our second game of the contest. Same for Ghana as well. So England, of course, starting against Croatia, Ghana starting against Panama. So the results of those opening matches are obviously going to influence this fixture. Both teams could be needing a win, because if England draw against Croatia, which many people are predicting at the minute, a win would be very nice, really cement our place in the next round. Ghana will be exactly the same. They could easily lose, they could draw. Who knows how Ghana and Panama is going to span out. But those middle games in tournaments can sometimes be dictated by the game before and what's coming last, and it can be a tricky one, can't it? It's hard to predict what each team is going to want from it. I mean, the very minimum ambition is that England will be trying to get 3 points here, whether that's 2 wins from 2 or a win and a draw. You would argue if Ghana are going to be sensible, they would play for a draw in this fixture and then play from there. Who knows what they could nick and win. But I don't think Panama, Ghana or Croatia are going into this World Cup thinking, right, we'll get 3 points off England and then worry about scraping a result against the others. I don't think that's the case at all. I think Ghana would be delighted if they can nick a draw against England, so they're going to look to sit tight, I believe. England will be favourites though. The most die-hard Ghanaian will not begrudge me that. I started this video by saying that Ghana are close to an all-time lowest FIFA World ranking, and I know FIFA World rankings are not the be-all and end-all of football, of life. In fact, a lot of the time they're complete nonsense, but there's no doubt that this team isn't the team that it was 20 years ago that was reaching the latter stages of World Cups. But Ghana are an African team with a bit of pedigree, it has to be said. They of course made it all the way through to the quarterfinals at the World Cup back in 2010 and only losing losing on penalties to Uruguay. And in 2022, although they did fade away, they started the tournament really strongly. A 3-2 loss against Portugal, really pushing them. They did fade away. But this Ghanaian team in the past have done well and have done well in comparison to other African nations. So write them off at our peril, is my words. Ghana did recently play Japan only a few months back towards the end of 2025. And of course, England do play Japan in these up-and-coming friendlies early in March and stuff. So you can draw from that what you will. They did lose to Japan 2-0. So friendlies are friendlies, though. I don't think if England rock up and draw against Japan or lose or win or whatever, I don't think it really has much of an influence on that. But take from that what you will. There's one player I've not spoken about, though, who is clearly the person who I have in mind when I'm talking about Ghana in that transition. If they can keep it tight and if they can transition the ball well, it's of course Englishman. It's of course the Ghanaian Semenyo, who is absolutely on fire. And you would think that Semenyo, against his home country, against the country in which he plays football in, would really want to get a win here and really upset the apple cart. I mean, he would be delighted with this draw and he'll be really looking to upset the England fans and the England team. And I know that's what Ghanaians are going to come at me with. They're going to come at me with Semenyo. They've got a lot of other players that England fans will be familiar of, but whether they play during the World Cup, obviously a lot of them are now ageing. You got Thomas Partey, Jordan Ayew, for example, who English fans will be aware of. Kudus as well at Tottenham. There's not really an awful lot else there, it has to be said, and as good as Semenyo is, you could make a case that England have 3-4 Semenyos in their squad. So look, England are overwhelming favourites for this, but this Ghanaian team will carry threat and experience and pedigree at the World Cup. I'll be honest with you, Ghanaians, if you're watching this video, I need to know more from you. I'm really confused about how good or how poor this team is. The fact that they didn't qualify for AFCON, the fact that they're ranked so low in the world at the minute. What is going off with Ghanaian football? Are Ghana there to make up the numbers, or will they be a threat in what is being called the group of death at the World Cup? I don't think it is a group of death, by the way. I don't think England will underestimate Ghana, though. I think patience is key. I think with the quality that England have, both up front in Harry Kane and through the middle of the park and out wide, I can't see that Ghanaian defence being able to hold back England for long periods. I really can't. So I can't see England going the whole game without scoring and scoring a couple at least. They'll have a period in the game, Ghana. They'll have 15-20 minutes, but then I think the quality will shine through, and I think England eventually will win this game comfortably. But it is one of those games where if they can get an early goal, if they defend really tight, if their goalkeeper has an absolute worldie, who knows? You know, football is football. This is why we love the sport. This Ghanaian team has proved in the past they are more than used to upsetting the big nations at the World Cup stage. What we will know is going to be an absolutely cracking match, and I cannot wait. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're new to this channel and you're watching this content, please hit the subscribe button if you've liked it. All fans are welcome, not just England fans. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all on my next video.